Good morning and welcome to the next edition of Morning Coffee Talk with the Welcome Waggin. I am your host, Dr. Jenny, and we are recorded today in my craft room because I'm feeling a little under the weather. So I didn't want to come live today in case I have to stop and pause this recording in this series in case I have to cough or something like that. So we are going to do our second episode pre-recorded, and today I'm excited to bring you a topic that is on the forefront of almost any general practitioner's mind, which is pet obesity. Tomorrow, Wednesday, October 12th, is National Pet Obesity Awareness Day. And what better time to really start the conversation, especially as it starts getting colder outside and we're not as active, about pet health surrounding weight and weight management and all of those types of things. So before we get started, let's just review what this whole series is about. My goal with this series is to really take our mission at the Welcome Waggin, which is celebrate life and the human-animal bond, and take it one step further. Currently, we live that mission out by providing exceptional veterinary care in the place pets love most, their home. And I know that as pet parents, you guys are so worried and caring and wanting to do the best for your pets all the time. So my next mission with this series is that we could create a community-based conversation around how pets enrich our lives and how we could keep them healthy, safe, and happy for as long as possible. So as we grow this series, I'm going to be asking you guys, the listeners, our clients, our friends, what information you guys are curious about knowing how you keep your pet healthy and safe. And we're going to dive deep into all of these topics. Again, we're also going to celebrate community, and we're going to celebrate those who have passed, and really just take a moment and take some time to drink some coffee, tea, whatever beverage of choice you want to drink early in this morning, and just celebrate our dogs and cats. You know, many people may not know, but I also do life coaching. And I really believe that part of living a well-balanced and vibrant life is not just taking care of yourself and maybe going and exercising and, eating healthy all the time, which we're going to get into with our pets, but it's also creating experiences that bring us joy. And I know that for many people, your pets are one of the most joyful experiences that you guys have, and taking care of them is super important. So that's what this episode is all going to be about, and future episodes too. So let me have a little sip of coffee and we'll get started with the first topic, which is just upcoming community events. Yes, yummy. So anyway, interesting enough, we had a really awesome week at the Welcome Waggin last week, and it kind of went out with a bang with the big homecoming parade. So cheers to anyone who was at the parade. This was our first time participating in the homecoming parade. Oh my gosh, it was the first time I've been part of a parade since I was in marching band in high school, and it was just a lot of fun. We had some of our team members come, so shout out to Michael and Marissa, who were able to wake up super early and be there a part of it. And to Marissa's family and my family, we brought our little kiddos along, and it was just such a great experience to participate. We didn't participate in the competition of what the theme was, so I'm hoping next year we'll up our game and maybe get a trailer and try to be a little more competitive. But this year it was all about just showing up. Other things that are going on, I don't have too many patient shout outs this week, but I do want to give another shout out to just the awesome team that we're developing here at the Welcome Waggin. So one of the things that's also super important to me is not just enriching our clients and our patients' lives, but also creating a vibrant veterinary culture where we are all looking to grow and really create a sustainable future for vet med. And so we are going through a process of our annual reviews, and those reviews are super important to us and to myself. Our reviews are based on our core values. And so we had two of our employees had their reviews last week, and Dr. Rump, who does not want to be on camera because she gets way too camera shy, did say I could give her a shout out anytime and talk her up anytime. So she's been with us for a little over a year and a half, and this past January, we purchased an abdominal ultrasound for her to start doing abdominal ultrasounds on some of our critical or more patients who have more chronic diseases. And so although you may not see her here on video at any point in time, I want you to all to know all the amazing things that she's doing. So she has a love for internal medicine. She has a love for challenging cases, especially when we're looking at when standard treatments are failing us. She is definitely very big into the research and learning what's coming out, what is some of the latest and greatest medication that's coming out that we could be using on some patients when, again, the standard treatments are not working. So it was so fun to sit down with her and have her review and really just talk about the future of the Welcome Waggin and all the different ways that she hopes to grow and expand her skill set as well as capabilities. So for those who don't know, we do abdominal ultrasounds in the home. It's our only diagnostic modality right now that we could do safely within the home. Again, we are old school, coming in with our vans and our bags, our doctor bags, and coming to you. We are not the mobile vet that has like the big RV out there that has all those x-rays and surgical capabilities. So we're not 100% full service, but as we work to get that way or have a brick and mortar at some point in time in the future, we are excited that she loves internal medicine and loves these cases because it's so important to get a full screening. So that was just like really fun to talk to her about, you know, her hopes and dreams and everything like that and how that coincides with the Welcome Waggin. So yeah, those are like the big things that are coming up for us. The only other major announcement is that we have hired another certified veterinary technician. She is going to start this November, and our goal with hiring her is to expand our travel nurse days. So Marissa has been leading the team this past, since February, doing travel nurse appointments, doing our laser therapy and our vaccine boosters, anything that really could be done without a doctor being present, she's been doing. And so we're so excited to have another person join the team because right now Marissa's only going out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're hoping to be able to offer 5 days a week for you guys so you have more options to be able to take those appointments up. Cheers to all that is happening at the Welcome Waggin. And please let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods. You know, it's fall, things are changing. This is like the prime of allergy season. Will definitely be a different topic for another day. But what has been going on in your life? What vacations do you have coming up? What things are you doing with your pets? Let us know so we can give you guys a shout out too. So let's dive into this week's topic. This week, we are going to talk about pet obesity. I know. So taboo. It's taboo with human doctors. Some people want their doctor to tell them. Some people don't want their doctor to have this conversation. It's not an easy conversation to have, but it is such an important conversation to have. I became really interested in well-being of our pets, pet weight, nutrition, all of those types of things in vet school. You know, that's probably one of the reasons why I never could specialize because I enjoyed too many different fields and topics. But the pet obesity thing was super important. I graduated in 2011, so I can't remember what year, but one of a major longevity studies came out while I was in vet school that was done at Purdue. That was the first study that literally documented and followed pets from birth to when they did pass away and looking at what factors led those that lived the longest. And one of the factors really that they were able to find was thin, leaner dogs live longer. Now, it was only a sample size of 10, and for any of my epidemiologists or research gurus out there, you will know that that's like a super small sample size, and that is one of the limitations of vet med is small sample size. But nonetheless, I think that's something that just stuck with me, the importance of lean pets and how that keeps them healthy longer and all of that. So Like I said earlier, tomorrow is Awareness Day, Pet Obesity Awareness Day. And so I want to talk to you and how I work through my cases when I am working with owners when their cat or dog is overweight and how we have those conversations. It's so easy during your yearly physical with your pet to make those comments, oh, Fluffy could stand to lose a little bit, or oh, you know, Jack is looking like he's gained a little bit of weight this year, and then easily move on. But without adequate resources, it's very easy to like take that comment in and then just kind of move on with your year, your month, whatever. And next thing you know, Jack or Fluffy is still continuing to gain weight. So again, why is this so important? We already alluded to the fact that our thinner, trimmer dogs do live longer, but there are so many other diseases that are caused by being overweight. And one of the things is that certain diseases can then lead to weight gain. So why having your veterinarian involved in this process is just so important. So risk factors, you know, obese pets, they have a harder time with their mobility. And that is something we see all the time with the Welcome Waggin is pets who are suffering from mobility issues. And then one of the first things we're going to talk about is how to get weight off that pet, especially if the pet is overweight or is obese. Other endocrine diseases, liver issues, diabetes, which is an endocrine disease, Cushing's disease. These all could be factors that come from our pets being overweight. And so it becomes very vital that we understand and raise awareness about this problem. So it is estimated that 60% of dogs are overweight and 56% of cats are overweight. And I'm sure that is pretty accurate and correlated to, you know, how many Americans are overweight. And so that's like 50,000 dogs, like 56,000 cats. You know, half our population is overweight. And, you know, and the funny thing is, it's like little babies, where like little babies, you don't mind being overweight, but there's so much shame by being overweight as a human. And there's like a whole diet industry out there for humans. But for some reason, our pets kind of seem to get a pass. Like, oh, it's okay, they're overweight. Let's just laugh at their weight and everything like that. And while I think that's okay, and while I think that there can be health at every size, I do think it's important to address these issues and make sure that we are not using our joy for food as a measure of love for our pets, because let's face it, they easily will like food way more than you know, we even realize, and it definitely could become problematic long term. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm dealing with a pet that's overweight is really just let the owner know what that means and how we measure it. So how do you know your pet's overweight? We in the vet community and here at the Welcome Waggin, there's 2 different scales, and we've adopted the scale that goes 1 to 9. So 5 is ideal, 9 is obese, and 1 is emaciated. And part of our medical records, we are going to be assessing your pet's weight and giving them a score. You know, 6 is just mildly overweight. Obviously I said 9 is obese. And like 4, I'm starting to worry about what diseases could be causing emaciation and things like that. And so just like with humans, there are going to be some diseases that are going to lead to weight gain, some diseases that are going to lead to weight loss. But how you as a pet parent can tell if your pet's overweight is you should be able to easily feel their ribs without having to press too hard in, and then rub your hand down their side and be able to count their ribs. You would want to see a little hourglass figure around their waistline. We used to have a dog named Tootsie Roll, and she definitely looked like a Tootsie Roll. You don't want that. You want to be able to see a little waistline there. And I could share as part of this video that scale, so then you could see side by side, like what does 1 look like, what does 2 look like, what would a 5 look like, what would a 7 look like. There's really good handouts to be able to assess that. So that's one of our first assessments. And the other thing that we also have to assess is muscle mass, because a lot of times your pet could still be overweight, but then they're starting to lose muscle mass, and like various diseases could cause that. So we're going to be really looking really right here in the front of their head, along their spine, and really feeling their back muscles, like their like leg muscles, to see if their body condition score is really accurate, or do we need to adjust that because of the fact that they're losing muscle mass as well. So this talk, in order to keep it not too long, because this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I have a strong love for GI diseases that lead to weight loss and emaciation, we're really not going to talk about all the diseases that are going to change and have fluctuations of weight. But I will say as a caveat of why annual exams and semi-annual exams are so important. So when your pet is young and healthy, an annual exam is certainly acceptable. But pets are aging 7 times faster than we are. And for us not to go to a doctor in a year, or it would be like 7 years for us not going to a doctor. So when our pets become seniors, for some large breed dogs, that starts as young as 5. And for cats, typically around 7 is we're going to start categorizing them as seniors. It's important to have those semi-annual exams, so us as the veterinary team can be giving those scores. I always tell a story. When I was pregnant with my second, you're just attuned to everything with everything that's going on while you're pregnant. I had caught a 1/2 pound weight loss in my cat, Ricky. Sure enough, as soon as my one daughter turned 1, he decided to develop chronic diarrhea issues, which again is another story for another day. But he had inflammatory bowel disease. So he had a primary GI disease that led to his body not being able to absorb nutrients, which was starting his weight loss journey. And so that was not us trying to get him to lose weight. That was a metabolic disease that he had. And so I was able to pick that up just being attuned to my cat and like knowing that he is off. So a lot of our clients are very attuned to their pets, and they pick up these things as well. And it's so important that if you ever catch, whether it's weight gain or weight loss, that just doesn't make sense, that you reach out to us right away, because there could be something going on. So when I work with pet parents, we've had a lot of great success stories. And in my early days, when I was practicing in the city, this was still a topic that was still very new to vet med, and the importance of it was really just coming out. So we're going to talk about calorie requirements here in a bit, and how crazy it is that we don't have standardizations for caloric intake like we do with humans, but we'll get there. And so back in those days, we would put pets on weight loss plans and monitor the weight and everything like that. And that's something I'd love to also be doing at the Welcome Waggin. So if you feel like your pet is overweight and you've been struggling to get it to lose weight and you just haven't had a lot of success, definitely book an appointment with one of us, one of our doctor teams, so we could help you begin that journey. Because it's not just an easy fix. Our animals are much different. I will say that the benefit is that we can get them on a similar food and they don't have all the other variables that we are working with. It's really the humans who have to stay committed to that weight loss journey. And so what we'll typically do is anytime we're putting our pets on like a weight loss plan and things like that, I will want to get baseline blood work, because I want to rule out hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism in cats, hypothyroidism in dogs, and get that baseline blood work and make sure that there's no metabolic endocrine diseases or anything like that that could slow this process down or be the reason why our pets are overweight to begin with. And then what I do from there is I calculate calorie count. I've got some bags here, and I'm going to show you guys in a second how difficult it is to find the calories on a bag of dog and cat food. And I will show you, and you can watch just how long it takes me, the veterinarian, to find this. And so the National Pet Obesity Association, I think this was started right around the time I graduated. And at that point in time, pet food manufacturers were not making it easily available how much calories per cup or calories per can. And they went undercover and literally went through every dog food, every cat food out there and found that information and made it accessible to pet parents. And so I literally back in the day, like printed it all out, had it in a binder so I could be able to ask my clients, what are you feeding your pet? What are you feeding your dog, your cat? And let's figure this out together. And so what we do typically is we start with resting energy requirements. So we first calculate what's that resting energy requirement from a calorie standpoint that's needed for, a dog who's kind of just, or cat just laying there all day. And then we factor lifestyle based on it. And there's a multiple calculations that we use in order to get that ideal calorie count. So why do we start with calories? So we know a lot within human medicine that it's not just calories, right? There's so many different variable factors that goes into why a person weighs what they weigh, how to get a person to lose weight, how to get a person to maintain weight, because the maintenance phase is pretty much almost the hardest phase. It can be quite easy to lose weight, but maintaining a weight is a whole nother story. And so even with our animal patients, there is a lot of individual variations, but at the end of the day, calories in, calories out is a way of quantitatively measuring the success that we're giving our pet. So we could accurately say, okay, we've been committed to this, is this working or not working? And then start factoring some of those individual variations, because what we're learning now in human medicine is that a calorie is not a calorie, is not a calorie. There's a bunch of other nutritional components as well. And so that's where we'll start. And the thing I always say with the bag of dog food is it is okay. Like a lot of times with puppies, I'll be like, it's okay to feed what's on the bag of food based on weight, but that is estimating a maintenance phase for a pretty active dog. And the reality is, like, our pets and our cats are just not as active as sometimes we have time to make them be. And so that's where the calories to get a little off. So I have a can here. So what I always tell people is start by, and these are just like random food that we had in our clinics, our practice. Some of them were donated, but I just wanted to grab some. Is I start by telling people, find out how many calories you're feeding your pet currently. Like, let's spend a couple weeks just learning how many calories they're actually eating. And so like in all of this, like you probably will not be able to see it, like all of this little small print, I'm able to find on this type of cat food. See, I'm still looking. Oh, calorie content. Okay, 173 kilocalories per can. So this is 173 calories. If a cat was just eating this food, they'd at least need 1.5 cans. Cats roughly need 200 to 400 calories a day. Dogs always calculate. Here's another big bag. I think this is a prescription food. And let's see here. Okay, I'm still looking. I did have to pause, but I did find it. This one is 347 calories per cup. So technically, the cat would maybe just need 1 cup a day, depending on where their maintenance calculation comes out, which we'll work together to do. And then finally, this is a small breed dog food bag, and we are looking at, so obviously you easily could find like the feeding chart, but to find the calorie content, okay, this one's a little more organized, and we are at 398 calories a cup. So that's where we're gonna really wanna focus, and we wanna know how many calories per cup. Now, I didn't bring it here, but I really encourage you, don't just use like a bowl, don't just use a scooper, really go out and buy a measuring cup and use a measuring cup to measure the food and actually like flatten it out like you're baking, so we know exactly what we're doing. We don't have to get crazy and weigh the food or anything at this point in time, but at least try to measure accurately. So what we do is find out, one, how many calories are they eating? And then try to, obviously we're doing our blood work, we're trying to see, make sure there's nothing that could be stopping the process, but then how much are they overeating? How much are they undereating? And I have a lot of feline patients that when I want to put them on a diet, is sometimes they start eating way too less and not consuming enough calories, and we have to bump that up. So safely, a dog can lose 1 to 2% of its body weight a month, and a cat really only like 0.5% to 2%. So when we are wanting to lose weight from our pets, and we do recognize, okay, we do need to cut back food, we don't want to do anything drastic, especially in cats. Cats very easily could get a life-threatening liver disease if we cut back food too fast, or if a cat ever doesn't eat enough. So with cats, we have to be very, very cautious. So just like with humans, when we go on that weight loss journey, we want, we're 2 weeks in and we expect, amazing results. So it's just with our animals too. And so I always tell pet parents, when you're on a weight loss journey with your pet, you want this to be taking 6 months to a year. My goal is that we're going to see a couple pounds down when I see you next year or in 6 months. And maintenance, a lot of times with cats, I'll be happy with maintenance. It's the weight gain that makes me so scared for, but those who are serious, we're going to do a slow, gradual weight loss. So first, we spend the first 2 weeks just establishing what the current baseline is. We don't rush into the process. We don't make any changes. And then we start looking at what that maintenance requirement should be, is if we cut back by a couple percentage points and say, like, let's say we wanted to lose 5 pounds, like, let's see what our maintenance requirement would it be. If it's a 100-pound dog, let's try to get them down to like 95. And then we work there, and then we go down to 90, and we do slow, gradual changes until we get that overweight lab to look again like a nice fit 75-pound lab. So that's where we're going to start. In terms of exercise, of course we want to exercise our pets, but we have to be very, very careful of what kind of exercise is good. And just like with an overweight human, you're not going to go from couch potato to marathon runner overnight. You're going to start with that couch potato to the 5K and do a gradual increase. And so with a lot of patients, because they may already have some comorbidities, starting slow is going to be really important. Especially coming up on this winter season. I'd love to know, comment below, do you walk your dog outside as much during the winter, or do you tend to not walk them as much? We usually see the weight go up in the winter and down in the summer months, typical for us humans. But yeah, tell me in the comments how much of you are avid outside walkers, especially during that cold season, because I know it's hard for a lot of us. So walking is a great way. Obviously running if you're a runner, but do it really slow. And then other really fantastic ways, at least for dogs for right now, is like to stimulate the brain with games, like various like activities, obviously pay and catch, things like that. Finding different puzzles, doing like little sniff challenges if you have a sight or a hound dog or anything like those natures, just different things that you could do with your pet, getting involved in your community and joining obedience or agility classes. All of those things would just also enrich your human-animal bond, then also bond your pet. And then if exercise could be too hard, there is water therapy. In the Chicago area, there are many places who do have water treadmills and pools and all of that. So if you weren't as familiar with all the options, definitely research in the area because there's so many great options. We literally talked about the other day, like we don't have a water treadmill, but how cool would it be like to bring a like a kiddie pool to the houses and be able to offer water therapy for some of our patients. So that was one of our random ideas. And then for the cat parents, cats are strictly carnivores and they are hunters. So finding ways to stimulate those instincts is just an awesome way to like enrich them. And so dogs typically need about 30 minutes of exercise every day. Cats about 15. And with cats, it'd be best to break it down into like 5-minute increments. So like 3 5-minute workout sessions a day for your cat, whether it is like chasing a mouse, whether it is something that's causing them to prowl and jump on things. Definitely get back to some of their instincts to help them. Caveat with cats when they're working out. A cat should never pant. So if you ever work your cat out too much to their panting, you know you've taken it too hard, back off. We don't want cats to be panting by any means. And so from there, those are the big things we're going to be watching for. we're going to be how can we play more with our pets, and how can we work with our veterinarian to come up with a specific calorie requirement based on your pet's age, lifestyle, current diseases, or whatever is going on, comorbidities, whatever is going on with your pet, and how could we all work together to make sure your pet is at an ideal body weight that's going to help them live longer. So I hope that you guys got some ideas, that you've got some feedback on ways that you could evaluate your own pet. Think about, is this something that you'd want addressed? And is this something that you would be interested in having one of our fellow doctors come out and work with you and your pet on how to keep them nice and trim? So thank you so much for our first topic. And like always, before we end our series, I want to take a moment and just acknowledge the pets that we've lost this past week. Again, we see all life stages from puppies and kittens to end of life, and celebrating that human-animal bond also includes celebrating the life of our pets when they pass and honoring them when they're gone. So this past week, we lost Fendi, Muffy, and Daisy, and we just want to take a moment, or I want to take a moment and just make sure all of you guys as owners out there know how amazing they were as pets and how much they enriched their lives. Someone near and dear to us, our dear Michael, lost his Chelsea this past Saturday, one of his cats. And we just know how hard it is to know that you've done everything you can for your pet and they still are going on to wherever they go to next. Hopefully that Rainbow Bridge and meeting us there. And so, Michael, our thoughts are with you and our condolences is with you as you grieve the loss of Chelsea. And finally, something I had learned by watching CBS Sunday Morning is we all lost Pebbles this past week, and Pebbles had held the National Guinness Book of World Records for the oldest dog. Pebbles was 22 years old. Pebbles was a toy fox terrier, and I just think that is so awesome. I had a cat that lived to be 20. Snowball passed a month after I had finished vet school, so I had Snowball from when I was 6 to when I was 26. And I tell all my cats and all my dogs, well, the dogs won't live as long as 20. I mean, I guess if I had a little small guy like Pebbles, it was a possibility, but I tell all my cats, you better live as long as Snowball. And so with this final shout out and this final celebration to those who have passed, I want to conclude today's, or this week's series of Morning Coffee Talk. I went a little bit longer this time because I get super passionate about some of the things that we're talking about. And so these episodes are going to be between 15 minutes, maybe an hour. I'm not sure where it's all going to go. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Please write in. Let us know if you want us to give your pet a shout out. I would love to do that, and just let us know the awesome things that you are doing to make your pet's life healthy, happy, and full. Until next time, take care.